Well, hi gang, it's been a while since I've done anything on here. So long actually I figured it was worth doing a bit of a recap of the situation over here. Reintroduce you to my problem. So, there's a few things that we can have a look at. Bit of a fleet update for you. This one's my main project, 98 Holden Berliner. I bought that when it was about 3 years old, and it's been through the family, a few different people, but I got it back and I'm going to bring it back to its former glory. And so for that one, I got this one over here as a parts car. This one mechanically not so great, but cosmetically pretty nice. So I'm going to pull all the parts off that to make the other one nice again. Unfortunately, but luckily, or however you want to look at it, someone tried to steal it the other day. It was parked on the street. They broke into it and ripped into the ignition, but luckily, even though it's 22 years old, the immobilizer system in it worked and they couldn't get away with it, but now it's a bit of a problem. So I got a bit of a video to splice together on that. I'll post that one a little later. But that's the parts car. That's the project car. That's a runner for another person in the family. And then this one is my daily right now, E38 BMW. I love these cars. This is my favorite BMW. This is a 95, and yeah, I think everybody should own an E38 if you ask me. I've had 4 or 5 of them in the past, and a couple of X5s as well, which are a very similar platform, and I think BMWs get a raw deal, especially this kind of generation. They're actually super easy to work on, bit time consuming, but they're the Commodore of Europe, or for our American friends, the Buick of Europe. And yeah, there's just so much information online, and they're actually really well designed, I find, for maintenance work. So it's not hard to rip into one of these. You can usually get away with basic tools. This one in particular, yeah, I got it cheap, bit over $1,000. This was over $220,000 new in 1995, so that's almost $10,000 a year of depreciation, but it means you can pick up a really, what was once an amazing car for next to nothing. And that's probably the epitome of my problem, is you see a deal like this, where it's a whole lot of car for almost no money. And there's problem child number 2, that one. That's problem child number 3 up there. And problem child number 1's hiding around somewhere. But back to the cars. Yeah, so it ran like a pig when I got it. I've done a little bit to it. It's running a lot better, but still needs something. I think it's mainly just tune-up stuff. And I'm be splicing together a video on that too when I get it going. A bit nicer than it is right now, but it's perfectly good enough to drive around, so that's my daily at the moment until I get Project Car back on the road. So talking about daily drivers, for those of you playing along at home, you might notice the absence of a 98 Honda Accord. Well, I was in the middle of making videos with that one, did some brakes, did some transmission stuff, and then suddenly sold it, which was good because I get to do more interesting things with more interesting cars. But a week after I sold it, I got a letter from Honda, and that letter was saying that it had one of the airbag recalls on that car, and that essentially, reading between the lines, it was too expensive to fix, and that they were willing to buy the car back off me for about $1,500 more, or almost twice as much as I sold it for. So you win some, you lose some. I still got most of my money back. See, I told you he's super helpful, huh? Got most of my money back and got to move on to something else. I paid less for the BMW than I sold the Honda for, so that's a win in my book. But that's why there are no more Honda videos. So sorry about that. I got several half-finished videos on my clipboards, but I think they're trash. They're not going to be any use to anyone without a conclusion. So that's why I now have a BMW as a daily. My wife's car, Toyota Kluger. We love that thing. Hauls the family around. Very faithful, being a Toyota. Super practical, super reliable. I think anybody who messes around with cars like I do should have at least one car that they can trust to get the family around. and so that one's the wife's one. Now my other problem, apart from my cars, is my boat problem. Got a couple of boats over here. I also have 3 more project boats off-site and 1 more project car as well. One day I'll introduce you to that project car when I can get it back here. That one's very close to my heart, but for now what you see here is what I have. And so the main thing at hand right now is when 2 become 1, we will turn this car into a nice driver. It's had a bit of an impact here on the back corner, so I've got a tiny little bit of bodywork to do on there, and other than that, hopefully mainly a panel switch out and it should be good. Then it'll need a bit of a tune up. This one has been in storage for about 5 or 6 years, so it is running. Some of the other videos you would have seen got it running and locked up and everything, but now it's time to get it back on the road. Very exciting. So a few videos to come, hopefully. I've got a bit of time now with all this coronavirus going on. Yeah, I'll hopefully get stuck back into the projects, produce some videos for you. Some of them might be interesting. I feel like I'm a pretty boring person, so I don't mind. If you find these interesting, then give us a like or a follow or whatever. And yeah, we'll see what we can do with this BMW as well. One thing that I really love about the BMWs like this one being so cheap now is I've always wanted to have a modern rat rod, so I'm thinking about ratting this thing out a little bit, doing something a little different with it. It's got a lot of little problems, so it's never going to be an amazing car again, and I'm a big believer that in every car, somewhere hidden inside, no matter what the condition is, there's still life and there's still purpose. Whether it's something that needs a full restoration or warrants that, something that maybe is only good as yard art and furniture, or something like this that you get to do something fun and different with. So we'll play with that as well. But for now, I'm going to sign off. First thing I've got to do is clean up my workspace. So tomorrow is garage tidy out day, and then hopefully we can get stuck into some projects.